What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. So, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Uranus because I think I've done Saturn and Neptune, and I'm pretty sure I've did Saturn through the 12 houses and Neptune through the 12 houses. So, we're going to do Uranus. That's the last one. So, those are the three outer planets, right? So, we got the original seven planets. Sorry, we got uh, Saturn. Um, we got Mercury, we got Venus, we got um, Mars, you know what I mean? And then we got the sun and the moon, you know what I mean? So that's how it goes the 7 days of the week: the sun, the moon, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, uh, Venus. Yeah, I already said Venus, Saturn, and then you got the other three planets, which is Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Now we got Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn but co-ruled by Uranus, right? So that's why Aquarius has that energy of a rapid change of stability. You know what I'm saying? Because Saturn has to do with stability, foundation, building blocks, and then Uranus comes and tears that down and builds something else. So it's all about tearing things down that are old and outdated and bringing something new. So that's what Uranus has, that energy. It's very rapid. It's it's instant, like they say, the speed of light, you know what I mean, like in science. So that's what they're saying. um Uranus has the energy of unpredictability, if I'm saying that right. You know what I mean? It's very unpredictable, it's very turbulent. You don't know, things can happen out of nowhere, you know what I mean? Things can change suddenly. That's what the Uranus energy has. So that's why Aquarius have that energy of uniqueness, because it's not something that is of the natural, it's not something of the old and outdated form. It's a new form of foundation, a new form of stability. So it might be seen as weird or not understandable or not logical, but even though they're an air sign, but eventually people catch on. So that's the good energy about Aquarius, the good energy about Uranus. It's very forward thinking, it's very futuristic. So people might not be able to adapt to it suddenly, but eventually they do get to where they need to get to, and that's very important. So Uranus, we're gonna go Uranus through the 12th house, right? So Uranus in the first house. The first house has to do with your personality, your physical appearance, the vibrant energy you give off. So if you have Uranus in your first house, you tend to have physical, like there's a, how would I say it? Pretty much there is a rapid unpredictability when it comes to your body. So you could get injuries, you know, you can damage your body in a very severe way, or you could rapidly get pregnant, you know what I mean? Because you have Uranus there, or your body is used for things like skydiving or something very adrenaline rush, because Uranus is like rapid. So it's something very um how would I say it? It's very, yeah, it's pretty much, it's very quick paced, very fast paced. You know what I'm saying? So that's Uranus. You have that physical agility too, because you have Uranus in the first house. So your body can be very agile, can be very productive, and you usually tend to do things in your personality that has to do with unpredictability. So your personal life is very unpredictable. You know what I mean? So that could be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing. You know, it could be a good thing where you're winning lotteries and things like that, or it could be a bad thing where you get into a very unpredictable accident and you damage yourself. You know what I mean? Now you cannot walk for the rest of your life. So it depends how things go with Uranus in your first house, but it has to do with, and also you like to change up your physical appearance like very rapidly. Like it's unpredictable the way one day you could dress this way, another day you can dress another way. You know what I'm saying? One day you can look this way, another day you can look another way. Uranus in your second house has to do with your stability, your foundation, the things that you own, the objects that that you're physically attached to. So having Uranus in your second house, you could be the type of person that actually wins lottery, you know what I mean, or gambling and things like that, because Uranus is unpredictable. So that could be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing. Where also you could fall for scams and out of nowhere lose all your money. So having Uranus in your second house, your foundation and your stability can be turbulent. You know what I mean? But it can be for good or for bad, depending on how things go. So you want to tend to utilize things that are unique in your creativity to gain money and gain value. That would be a good way to use your second house, Uranus energy. Try to get into things that get you money, in terms of technology. You know what I mean? Because Aquarius energy, we're in the age of Aquarius, right? So that's to do with technology. And with technology, that's Uranus energy, you know? So if you can utilize some form of technology to gain money, you do well in that aspect. Um, Uranus in your third house. Uranus in your third house, you have a very futuristic mind. Your mind is very rapid. It's very electric. I mean, it's very alive. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. A good thing is you're very, you have a scientific mind. You know how to come up with new futuristic way of thinking. You know how to contribute to society in your futuristic thinking. You know what I'm saying? You got Uranus in your third house. So you have your mind's very rapid, so your mind's very up and down. So that can be a good thing, but also sometimes you need to find ways to meditate, find ways to calm your mind. Your mind can be very chitty chatter, it can be very rapid. So you have to learn how to calm it down, take it easy, and then utilize your mind for very futuristic thinking and ways of concepts, so you can bring it to society and things like that. Um, Also, your dreams. Oh no, dreams will be more 12th house. But yeah, your mind, your speak, also your speech. You might talk very quickly. Um, so you have to learn how to slow down your speaking because Uranus is very quick. So you might have to learn how to speak in a more slow manner. Even me, sometimes I gotta learn how to do that too. So that's how it goes. Um, but yeah, your mind is just you're very intelligent having Uranus in your third house. If you have Uranus in your fourth house, your family can be very unique. So your family is not of the norm. So people your like also remember Uranus also has to do with misunderstood energy. If people don't know that, Uranus has the energy of being misunderstood because people might not understand you because you're so futuristic, you're so ahead that people haven't had the time to even conceptualize what you're really saying. You know what I'm saying? And the way you think and the way you are. So having Uranus in your fourth house, your family might not be of the norm. Maybe your whole family might be adopted or something like that. So you guys might adopt a lot of people within your family. Um, you might have a family of like maybe not really I guess polygamous family and things like that. Like if you're living in a neighborhood that doesn't really practice that, that might be seen as Uranus in your fourth house. Um, you might also have different type of weird family type of bonds and things like that. So that'll be Uranus in your fourth house. But you could also have a Uranus in your fourth house where your family is very scientific, they're very unique, they're very futuristic. You have a whole bunch of lineage of futuristic thinking people who are into science and into uh, astronomy or astrology or just things that expands the mind and is very unique and very ahead of its time. Having Uranus in your fourth house. Also, your family might be very turbulent. So one day you might be very close to your family, another day you might not be. You know what I mean? So the predictability. How do I say that word? To be able to be to be able to predict your family's dynamic might be very different. So it might be a unique dynamic family lineage that you have. Uranus in your fifth house. Uranus in your fifth house will be the way you express yourself is very unique. It's very ahead of its time. Your creativity and even your children might be ahead of its time. You know what I'm saying? Having Uranus in your fifth house. The way you like to date and have friendship might be unique. The people that you like to surround yourself around are unique people. You know what I'm saying? Having Uranus in your fifth house. Um, so yeah, the way you date, especially like the way you date, might not be conventional. The way you date might be you might like to date multiple people at once, or you might like to date one person at once, but that person might be very different from how society sees people. You know what I'm saying? Having Uranus in your fifth house. um, yeah, even the way you create your creativity is very unique. It's very futuristic. It's very uh people might not understand it at first, but if you give it time and eventually people will be able to understand what you're really trying to say. They might get the whole picture eventually, but it might take time. So that's why it's very important that you stick to your craft and you keep doing what you're doing, because eventually it will give time for people to catch up. You know what I mean? You have to be consistent in what you're doing, because then eventually it will give people the time to keep going through and going through, and it'll be like a chapter in your story, and then people will be able to understand what is really going on. You know what I'm saying? So you have to give it time. But yeah, just your creativity, the way you think, the way you express yourself might not be, people might be confused at first. They might not understand it, but eventually they'll understand it. Um, yeah, and the way you train your kids might be very different. You might like to take your kids to a different type of school, a unique type of school. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, your Uranus in your sixth house. Give me a second. Uranus in your sixth house is whatever you're doing as work. It might be humanitarian work. You know what I'm saying? Um, it might be uh a work for science. It might be like discovering different type of medicines and things like that. Uh or just different type of mechanics and electronics and things like that. That is something that you like to do as a routine, as a pattern. You like to do, it's something that you make as a routine, something that you make as a habit. Always doing something that is unique, something that is out of the norm. You like to be around people that are out of the norm, and that is something you like to do in your daily activities. You might also have a job in that type of field where it's a regular thing where you're utilizing also technology for your work, because like I said, Uranus is Aquarius energy, and that's what electricity is. It's rapid energy. So having Uranus in your sixth house, that's something you're doing as your work. You're utilizing technology to create. You're utilizing technology as something, as a habit, to um, keep you going as a routine and as a pattern. Also, your mind might also be as a routine and as a flow of, how would I say, like, your mind is just very futuristic. You know what I mean? And that's just the way you create. It's something that you always do as a routine. It's just who you are. You embody that, and that is how you are. Um, Uranus in your seventh house. So your relationships might not be conventional. Your relationships might be very, it's not predictable. You know, one day you might be dating this person, next day you're dating someone else. You know what I mean? One day you're with this partner, the other day you're with a different partner. So, you know what I mean? It can be very, very rapid. But I guess you adapt to that eventually. But at first, it might not be something you're adapted, because Libra does well with Saturn. Saturn does well in Libra. So Libra likes that foundation. It likes balance. And Saturn is balance, right? When you're on this earth, that Saturn energy, you feel balanced, you feel grounded. So if a Libra does not feel grounded, even though they're cardinal air, but when it comes to relationships, they like to be grounded. So in your seventh house, having Uranus there, it destabilizes that groundness. It destabilizes that foundation, and it's something eventually you're gonna have to get used to. But it might be something that at first you might not like, you might not enjoy. Having Uranus in your seventh house. Um, what else? But your relationships, though, you might like that. You might like people who are very unique and who are very to themselves. They don't like to follow the crowd. They do their own thing. You might like that type of relationships, and it might be unique to you. You might like a relationship where you meet someone like maybe in a science lab or something like that, or you meet someone at a science fair or something like that, or you just meet someone that does their own thing, but you relate to that. You relate to their uniqueness. You relate to their Uranus energy. You know, their energy of um of being able to be themselves amongst the crowd. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's Uranus in the seventh house. Then we go Uranus in the eighth house. Uranus in the eighth house, you're you have a lot of ties to a lot of people. Like you have a lot of deep connection, but to a, to a specific group of people. It's not just a whole bunch of people, but you have a connection, deep connection with a bunch of people. Because that's that Aquarius energy, that Uranus energy. But having Uranus in the eighth house, because eighth house has to do with sex, right? So you're very you like remember Uranus is not of the norm, so they like to do things the other way. They like to rebel against the traditional way. So having Uranus energy, you're always rebelling. You're always having that getting rid of the traditional way and creating your own way. So having Uranus in the eighth house, your sexual desires might be very unique. So you might have different type of sexual desires that you know society does not indulge in. You know what I'm saying? You might have that type of sexual desires where society does not indulge in, but a selective few of people you can be around to do those things with. You know, having Uranus in your eighth house, um, the way you express your deep desires is also very unique. You know what I mean? You have a unique way of expressing those desires. Um, having Uranus in your eighth house. Also, your because inheritance has to do with eighth house. Eighth house. So having Uranus in your eighth house, you your inheritance is very unique. Like the way you gain money is not from the norm. So you might be someone that gain money from a lineage just based on who you are. You know what I mean? It's something that you just naturally get. You know what I'm saying? Like your lineage is just special that you just get all these inheritance just based on that. Based on who you tie yourself to because Aquarius energy. Uranus in the eighth house. So you can go either way though also with your inheritance. It can be good or it can be bad. You know what I mean? You could gain a whole lot of money, but you can also lose a whole lot of money. You know what I mean? Uranus can go either way. It's a gamble when it comes to Uranus. Um, but yeah, pretty much yeah, your sexual desires is very unique. It's very and it's only for a selected few of people. Um your yeah, the things you like to do behind closed doors also is also like something you like to do on your own. You know what I mean? You also have like things that you like to do on your own that you like to indulge in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Uranus in your ninth house. If you have Uranus in your ninth house, you love to travel and you love to just you're the type of person that one day you can be in this country, the next day you're in this country. You know what I mean? Like it's just based on your desires. Like you might be like, okay, I want to go this place today, and you might be in Italy for 1 week, and you'll be like, okay, I'm bored. I want to go this place, and then you might go to Spain. You know what I mean? Just for an example. But you're the type of person that you love to travel rapidly. Like it's very spontaneous for you having Uranus in your ninth house. Also, the way you teach might be very unique. You know what I mean? It might be very unconventional. The way you teach. You might like to teach things when it comes to science, astronomy, um, even astrology, maths, whatever it is, science, whatever it is, chemistry. But the way you teach is just very unique, and people are gravitated towards it. Like they gravitate towards your the way you speak, the way you teach. Um, what else? But yeah, pretty much even your traveling, like the way you travel, you like to travel uniquely. Like you might be the type of person that might just be a backpack type of person. You know what I mean? And you might travel by yourself. You know what I mean? So you might like to travel by yourself and just one day you're in this place and you always find a way to always make it happen. Like you might not even have money, but just the way you know how to connect with people because you have that Uranus energy, you know how to like just on the spot think of something. Okay, let me just do this, let me do that, and be able to find your way around different countries and different cultures and different ways of thinking and different ways of teaching and different ways of preaching. Even the way you preach is very unique. You know what I'm saying? Like you preach in a very unique way, and people gravitate towards that. Having Uranus in your ninth house, Uranus in your tenth house. if you have Uranus in your 10th house, your status goes through ups and downs. You know what I mean? One day you might be this status, then the next day you might be this status. You know what I'm saying? So your status fluctuates. Um, yeah, so you're the type of person that might be a jack of all trades. So you like different having different status. You like not being tied to one status. You might like to have different type of status. You know what I mean? You like to switch it up a little bit. And always because Uranus is in the 10th house. So this is like Aquarius energy and Capricorn energy. So you're the type to always rebel against whatever status you have. So you might not like people seeing you for one status. You might like people seeing you for multiple statuses. And you take pride in that, having Uranus in your 10th house. Um you might also like you might also want to be known for being different and want to be unique. You want to be known for being unique and you want to be known for being different. Or you might be known as that. Like people see you like that, like, oh, this person's just different. Like the way they do things is just not of the norm, whether good or bad, whether the perception is positive or negative. But people just see you like that. People just see you like you're just different. You know what I mean? And and they can see that from afar, having Uranus in the 10th house. Um, so yeah, your status can go from up to down. You know what I'm saying? One day you might be married, one day you might be divorced, one day you might be a boss, one day you might be back to being unemployed. So it goes up and down, depending on just other things in your chart and things like that. But the most important thing is embodying the energy of being unique. And if you can embody the energy of being unique, then everything will be positive for you. You won't have a fluctuated status where it's chaotic. You would have more of a status where you're being known as someone that is being unique and you can be free to be whatever you want within that field instead of just having a catastrophic status. You know what I'm saying? So that's very important. Uranus in your 11th house. So Uranus in your 11th house is home here. Having Uranus in your 11th house is home. So you feel at home being yourself. You naturally are yourself. You naturally are unique. You naturally know how to be a people's person, but at the same time be to yourself and still be your own individual self. Um, you also know how to be unique in terms of your creativity. You know how to be unique in terms of your expression. You know, um, the people you're amongst around um, are very unique people. They're very different. You know what I'm saying? They're very Uranus, and they're also people that are very unpredictable. So that can be good or bad. You know what I'm saying? You could be around people that are unpredictable in terms of giving you gifts and giving you presents and putting you in opportunities to better your life and your career and your status. Or you can be unpredictable people that might not do that for you and might actually you or might destroy what you're trying to achieve. You know what I mean? So things might not go your way. So you have to learn how to be amongst the people that will help you achieve what you need to achieve, having Uranus in your 11th house. Yep. But yeah, you like to be amongst people that are very unique and very different, not conventional. You do well in those type of areas. And then last but not least, Uranus in your 12th house. So having Uranus in your 12th house, that will be your dreams. Your subconscious mind is very unique. It's very rapid. So your dreams might be very spontaneous. You might be dreaming about this thing, and then you might go into a deeper dream, and then go into a deeper dream, like in the movie Inception. You know what I mean? Dreams within dreams. So your mind, your subconscious mind is very. I think Uranus does well in the 12th house. So your subconscious is very rapid. It's very spontaneous, and your creativity, like in terms of your creativity, because Neptune is there, you like to create in a way where your creativity. That's why if you have Neptune and Uranus in your fifth house, if you have that in your fifth house, then you're someone that's really good because now your creativity is very Neptunian like. It's very dreamy. It's not of this world. It's a very new world that you created, and then also you have Uranus there. It adds that technology, it adds that spark to it. It gives it life. So the Neptune is the world, and then Uranus is the energy, the electricity, and it gives it life. and then you can create that. So if you have that in your fifth house, then that is something that is very unique, and you should utilize that. But Uranus in your 12th house is also similar to that. Your dreams will be very vivid. Your dreams will be very electric and very, very fortune telling. So it will be good to have a journal. If you have Uranus in your 12th house, your dreams will be very good, and you can journal these type of dreams. You know what I'm saying? And put it down and see what message that it comes back to you. Uh, yeah, your creativity is also very unique. It's futuristic. What else? Uh, so even the things that you do behind closed doors, because remember, 12th house has to do with jails, psychic wards, and just cabins and things that are detached from society. You know what I mean? Just like your subconscious mind is detached from the physical world, but it's connected though. It's still connected, but just in its own world. So having uh Uranus in your 12th house, you might end up being something randomly might happen where you might end up being in those type of situations where you end up being in a psychic ward or end up being um in a jail or prison. You know what I mean? Because your mind is too overwhelmed. Your Uranus energy is too chaotic. It's too it's not in a way where you're given a life, in a way where it's creativity. You're given a life in a way where it's too scattered. It's not connected. It's scattered, and because it's scattered, your mind is scattered. So you might end up being in a psych ward, having Uranus in your 12th house, or you might deal with a lot of paranoia or schizophrenia and things like that, having Uranus in your 12th house. So you have to be very careful when it comes to that and learn how to ground yourself, learn how to meditate, learn how to journal, learn how to communicate with other people. You know what I mean? Or just ways to release that energy so that it comes off as more creative and dream world like instead of scattered brain and um crazy like. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. And a lot of things behind closed doors might happen in your life. You know what I'm saying? Where whether for good or for bad. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things might just randomly happen in your life. You know what I mean? And a lot of things in your subconscious mind might also randomly happen too. You just have to learn how to channel that into creativity and into wellness because 12 house has to do with wellness and spiritual healing and mental healing. So once you do that, then things will be perfect for you. So yeah, guys, that is Uranus through the first to 12th house. Hope you guys gained something new. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you soon.